can be hard and challenging, you see. If you pay attention in school, the smarter you'll be. You get to choose anything that you want to be. Just tell yourself, it's up to me. The more you know, the more you will grow. The more you learn, the more you will earn. There's just no telling how high you can go. Today is a great day to get on with your show. Remember, there's greatness inside. Choose your future beginning today. There is no reason for you to delay. If the mind can conceive it and the heart can believe it, then the hands can achieve it. It all begins in the mind. There's Greatness on the Inside by Byron Garrett. So as we close the read aloud for today, I want you guys to kind of take hold of that meaning of what Byron was trying to get across in this book. For so many of our students, we are that hero. We are that inner voice for them. They may not hear it at home. They may not hear it from friends and family, but we can be that voice for our children. We can be that voice for our teachers, our faculty, our staff, for our community. Be that voice and remind everyone that there is greatness inside, especially this school year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. We want to welcome Mr. Lester Lemonek with us today. And Kelly Brown from Scholastic was so wonderful to reach out to him and ask him to come join our group for today. And I believe I saw him on the call.
Thank you. Well, guys, I'm going to sign off and go find that book, and I will touch base with you later. And thank you for letting me be part of your group this morning. All right. Take care.
Thanks, Lester.
Thank
you.
Bye, you all.
All right, guys. Up next, we have Kelly Brown with Scholastic. So I'm going to give her the floor.
Thanks, Emily. It is so good to see everybody. I hate that we're having to do it virtual, but I understand why, and I appreciate, and I know everyone else does, the caution that we're taking, especially when kids go back to school. My youngest son just went back to school on Wednesday, and so hopefully they'll stay in school and follow protocol. So I think I know most everybody on this call. I was scrolling through the names, and I've been the Scholastic rep for 16 years and covered South Carolina that whole entire time. So I've met a lot of you many times. I'm excited that Lester is going to be at PSLA in February. Yay. So we'll get to hear him again. But today what I want to share with you, and I have a colleague with me, Janine Nyes, who one of the things working with Scholastic is we carry a lot in our book bag, is what I always say. I don't carry just one thing. We have several different things that we share just to meet the needs of whatever your district schools are needing at the time as a solution base with our products. One thing that's been around for a really, really long time that I just got in my book bag is Scholastic magazines. And that's new to me as far as a sales rep, but it's not new to me as a former teacher, as well as having my kids when they were in elementary school utilize them during those times. So what Janine is going to do is I've asked her to share what we have with Scholastic magazines. So you guys, and you may have some in your schools, you may not know if you do or not. A lot of times these are purchases where one teacher might do it or one school might do it, but we've changed a lot with it. We have a lot of offerings with it. One of the things that I think is extremely neat about the new magazines is that there's a digital piece that goes with it. So in the event we go virtual again, these students will have access to all this information, as well as the print copy and the digital copy. So Janine, I'm gonna throw it over to you and let you share with this group our magazines.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Is it good? Okay, perfect. My name is Janine Nyes, and I work in the magazine division. I've been with Scholastic probably for about 7 years, and I was a teacher as well. I taught preschool, 4th grade, and middle school for about 12 years total, so kind of all over the board. So I feel you when you're looking for materials, trying to engage your students, and just making it easier for you, but we really want to incorporate as much as we can to support our students, especially now. So I'm really excited to show you all the magazines. I'm just going to do a brief little tour of what we have to offer. We have magazines from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I'm really excited to show you the covers of all of the magazines. So some of you, like Kelly had said, may be using the magazines. Some of you may have never seen the magazines. Like she said, we've been around for 100 years, starting with our middle school magazine. And there's just so much to offer for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see those right off the bat. Are you able to see the Scholastic Magazine website?
Yes, we can see
Yeah,
it.
thank you. I'm unable to see the chat. So if someone could chime in, that would be great. And I think, Kelly, if anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in,
I will.
along the way. Yeah. And so I wanted to show you really quick before I jump into the actual website, some of these covers. We combine the digital with the print. So if you are using the print within your classroom, the digital is included. And what's really nice is the digital runs beyond the school year. So if you end your school in May or June, the digital does run through summer. So if you have summer school or tutoring classes, reading classes, reading club, you can still use the digital for your students during that time. So we do have our relevant stories. We really want to engage our students. We want them to be able to see themselves within the story, reflect upon themselves, and picture themselves, that they have something in common with that child in that story that is being conveyed to them. So as you can see, we have the grade levels pre-K all the way to 12th grade. And as I'm scrolling, I just want you to look at these covers, just see how your students can relate to them. We're trying to engage them by drawing them into these high interest topics that we want them to read more, to search for more, and to keep on reading on what their interest is. We cover everything from science, social studies, English language arts. We also have reading intervention for middle school and high school students. Here we are getting into our ELA for middle school. Action is our reading intervention. Junior Scholastic is the similar title to Scholastic News for grades K through 5. We also have high school ELA, getting into current events. It's kind of a cross-curricular magazine for high school. Getting into math, science world, our social emotional class for students, that if you're teaching about social emotional learning or just life skills in general, we do have a wonderful magazine for middle school and high school students. We also have art and supplements of science that you could bring into your elementary schools. And at the very bottom, we do have foreign language. We have French, German, and Spanish. So we have a very, very wide variety of topics and curriculum pieces to incorporate within your classrooms. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of the titles just to give you a brief overview of what is included and to show you what your students will have available to them. We do have a few districts within your state that have the magazine. So for example, Kershaw County, if you're in that county, about a third of your students are using our magazines. Berkeley County, you're using our Scholastic News, Storyworks, Scope. Dorchester and Charleston, you're also using our Scholastic News, Kindergarten, Let's Find Out, and Storyworks. So a lot of districts are actually using our ELA magazines of this year, this current year, and the years prior. So I'll show you a little bit of those ELA magazines when we jump into those. So kindergarten, pre-K, kinder, first and second, your websites look pretty similar. You have their monthly magazines, but you get them per week. So you would receive your magazines every month, but they do cover week by week. So here's your coming back to school for September, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. We do include archives with all of our magazines. So this is phenomenal for independent reading, whole group instruction, or small groups. As an example, let me show you some of these archives. So we can go back probably 2017 of all of our magazine titles. So here is a suite of for first grade. So this is included again for pre-K all the way to 12th grade, these archives. So you can show your students this screen of the magazine you're choosing, and they can go through and have an e-library right at their fingertips. And they can look at these covers, be drawn into those topics, and keep wanting to read more, learn more. There's a lot of visuals. I love Lester saying, you know, want to draw those in with students that may not have the sentence or language for especially the pre-Ks and kinder, but they want to tell their own story just by looking at the pictures. So we do have phenomenal illustrations from our editor team that's incorporated with all of our magazines. So I'm going to jump back to the homepage and show you some of the teaching resources we have. We do have special collections embedded this year, so you might see this if you're currently using our magazines. We have social emotion learning pieces. We have for the younger students getting them up and moving with some great dance break videos and some text sets of coming back to school, starting out again. We had quite the year last year with virtual learning, so it's a little bit different for some of those students coming back into school, or it might be their first time coming back to school with the younger grades. So we have some support for teachers of bringing the students back together again after being virtual. So you'll see these pieces embedded within each homepage of your magazine. And the additional teaching resources we have, we always include our standard alignments. We have a lot of tutorials and teacher support within the magazine websites, and you'll find that throughout the links with your homepages, and a lot of family engagement. We're coming back to school, but we still want to keep our families engaged. So we have videos, we have letters, and we have some activities that families can do with their students at home. And one of the features that we did have starting last year with the support, all of our magazines include a hub where we have user guides. So you can go through these guides for getting started with how do I lesson plan, how do I share my content with my students, and we have the tutorials and videos to help you get started. So all the support is here right on the websites for you. And I'm going to jump into a different grade level so we can kind of peruse around what we have to offer. So we're going to go ahead into my dashboard, and then I'll choose one of the upper grades. So we'll jump into our Scholastic News for 4th grade. And Scholastic News is, again, what used to be known as Weekly Reader. I know that's what it was called when I was back in school. So that has changed now to Scholastic News. It covers current events, science, and all of our magazines include ELA. So they will be reading the articles, going through those articles, and popping into the actual issue. So all the magazines have the ability to present digitally. So you can open them up in presentation view. We do have the ability, if you need the Spanish as well, along with the English. But with the presentation view, you can present this to your class. If you are teaching virtually, this is a wonderful way to share the magazine. You can use this as a read aloud. You can have this in your small groups or some independent reading with your students. So I'm going through the pages. You can see how colorful they are. We always incorporate vocabulary words that you'll see highlighted throughout the actual article. And it does include our vocabulary and audio. And we always incorporate math skills, geography skills. So even though you're getting your current events magazine through Scholastic News, we do incorporate other subjects as well, as you'll see embedded within the magazine each week. And as we go through it, you're going to see a lot of color, a lot of visuals, illustrations. We really want to engage our students. We have activities and a lot of just high interest as we go through these magazine articles. One of my favorite features of the preview screen here is you can really teach within the text itself. If you're teaching a specific skill within your class, you can highlight, you can draw, and you can have that audio available right on your screen. So you can pick a color and you could mark right on the text, and your students have access to these features as well for text marking. You can go through and highlight. Let's say you have a word wall or a specific vocabulary that you're teaching with your class. You can zoom in right on your page and you can highlight any of those words or sight words within your classroom. And then we do have our read aloud available. I'm not sure if you're able to hear it through the Google, but it does highlight as it's read out loud to your students. And you could pause and have different speeds available. And you could pause it and have those pause and think scenarios with your students as well, just to discuss what they're being read to. We have our digital sticky note. This is actually one of my favorite features. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and we will go to maybe a portion of the text and zoom in. And let's move it around a little bit here. And once you click the sticky note, you can type right on your screen. So if you are discussing the debate article with your class, you could zoom in certain portions and you can ask those questions to your classroom, and you can annotate the responses right on your screen. And you can move this over to the side if needed. And the last feature on this is our spotlight. This is one of my favorites. Teachers absolutely love this tool because you can block out portions of the text and really have that focus on whether it be a title, a question. You could even go paragraph by paragraph with that text. So maybe you want to do a read aloud with your students and just read aloud the first portion of that text and then talk about it, have those discussion moments, or just read it out loud and you can go paragraph by paragraph. So there is not a lot of text on one screen for them. So one of the ways we want to help teachers is how to differentiate your instruction. Your students are just the way they learn. They have many different ways that they learn. So that we want to make that easy for you. So by having all of these features embedded right here where you can really focus your teaching on their needs, we have them available in several different places for you. So not only do we have the presentation view to teach closer within the text, we have all of your resources right here on the homepage. We have a digital resource guide. We have an answer key. We have skill builder activities. You can have the Spanish printed out and you could use that if needed within your class. We also have leveling of the articles within our magazine. So if you want to print out a lower level of the story, we have the link right here and you can print that out and share that with your students. I do want to show you the digital resource guide real quick. You will receive your resource guide with every issue, and it gives you a breakdown of your lesson, of how you could teach with it, and we want to be as flexible as we can with your time and with your curriculum. So you can pick and choose pieces of the lesson plans, or you can even use it step by step. We just have all of this prepared for you ahead of time, so you have this available right at your fingertips. And as you notice, we do have extensions to our lessons of differentiating even further. So we have, if you're using the magazines in small groups, maybe you have multilingual learners or striving readers, we always have extra components to help you along the way. And the final piece of our digital resource guide is at a glance. So this is really helpful if you're lesson planning for that week or that month. You'll see the name of the article, right here, the title, and then the content area, your standard alignments, and all of your digital resources that are included with your article. So again, you can pick and choose what you want to use to support your students within reading that article and learning that particular skill. So again, all of our magazines, pre-K through 12, include everything. You have your lesson plans, you have your digital resource guide, you have the presentation view. Of course, you're going to get the print, so you can have the students have the print in front of them. You can pull up some of the features and have some of those skill builder activities available. So I'm going to jump into your teaching resources so you can see what you receive as far as supporting your students with the skills you're teaching. So we do have videos embedded within the websites, and a lot of these videos are background builders. So you can click on one of the videos, get them engaged on what they're going to be reading. We do have the closed captioning available too. So the videos are about 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes long, but we definitely wanted to have the students be able to reflect, and even maybe they know somebody in their community that they can relate to, or even themselves. So we really want to try to have those students have these stories relatable to them, and they want to learn more. They want to read, that they're not alone, that they are part of their community, classroom, and in society. So we really want to engage those students to emotionally connect with these stories. So you'll see your videos right under your teaching resource tab, and your students do have access to these as well. So they'll be able to watch the videos anytime, anywhere. They'll have access to the websites digitally as long as they have the internet, they have a laptop, a cell phone, computer, even any kind of Chromebook. They can get on there, they can use the websites and watch those videos, listen to the articles, and have access to those archives. So some of the skill building skill sheets that we have for you are right here, and they're focused on a particular skill, and you'll see these right here with the title of those skill sheets. And we also are embedded with many learning management systems. So if you use Google Classroom, Clever, Canvas, Schoology, any of those, we can incorporate and integrate the magazines to your roster. So you can assign students articles or the videos or even some of the skill sheets that they can complete and send back to you for grading. You can all do this within the website. So you'll see these open up, even though it's a Google icon. If you're not a Google Classroom user, you can save it to your drive and then save it as a link and incorporate that within your classroom. We do have our Google slide decks available. These are self-taught lessons that break down everything for that issue to make it easy for you. And you can have these activities, you can edit these based on what you're teaching. So the first screen is usually instructions, but then as you go through the slides, there are instructions for your students. So they can do this independently because there are step-by-step instructions for them. And I'll just show you a couple examples of these slides. So they can fill these out and send it right back to you for review or have that discussion with them one-on-one. And you'll see these slide decks embedded with all of our magazines for definitely for grades 3 and up. I believe they're going to be working on the younger grades, but if you want to take a glance at your website, you'll see that right away with the slide deck as an option for you. And I'll go ahead and scroll down for you. And again, you're going to see additional teaching support, your digital resource guide, your answer key, your lesson plans are broken down right here for you. It's similar to what we saw in our digital resource guide, but this is right here on your website. So it does break it down with the links so you can hop right into that. And so you don't have to go back and forth between the website. We tried to make it a little bit easier for you. Embedded in the lesson are the links to get right to that activity. We'll go back to our homepage. Let's try that again. Let's click, there we go. And then we have our leveled articles right here on the bottom. We have, I discussed a little bit about the lowering of those levels. If you do want to print those out, we have those right here, but we also have another way to show those levels. So on this tab for the articles, it is broken down by article. So you will see that there's 2 reading levels. You can share the article with your students by copying the links, or you can go ahead and click on that article and it'll take you to a different format. We saw the presentation view earlier where you can open up the magazine and read it together, but we do have the web view format, which is the digital view where you can change those reading levels. So right now we're on the level that is mirrored to the print that you are receiving. So when I click lower level, you'll see the text change just slightly, about 100 Lexile level points right on your screen. So you can do this in your small groups, you can do this independently, and when you can also share it to your classroom on the particular level you choose. So if you do want your students to be reading at that lower level just for additional support, you can click on share, copy that link. If you click locked mode, then they'll be taken just to this article. But if you click open mode, they'll be taken to the article, but then they'll have access to the whole website to explore. So you can choose which link you would like to use, and then they'll have access to that level that you chose for them. We do have our audio read aloud here as well. When you do click on it, it reads it out loud. Just as we saw in the presentation view, it does highlight, but it's a little bit quicker as far as the vocal. So it's more of a robotic. It's not read in the from the editorial team. So you'll hear that difference, but we did want that access here so students can listen to the articles read out loud to them, no matter which view that they see for their article, either the presentation view or the web view. And when your students do have access, they will not have access to all the resources, such as we saw earlier. They'll have access again to just that article and the videos. So this is our Scholastic News. I did want to show you briefly the StoryWorks. ELA, all of our magazines do cover the ELA, but StoryWorks and Scope, which is highly used with many districts in your area. So I wanted to pop into a StoryWorks and see if this is a little bit familiar to probably a lot of you using this within your classes. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see this a little better. So StoryWorks covers all of our genres, nonfiction, paratext, fiction, plays, debates, poetry, and we have videos embedded, just like we saw in the other magazine titles. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on a latest issue so you can see what those look like. So for our ELA magazines, we do have them divided up. Instead of those 2 tabs of the article and teaching resources, you could just flip over the story cards and it will tell you the different Lexile levels, the stories, what they include for your additional support, and your featured skill. So when you click on the actual story, It will look similar to what we saw earlier with Scholastic News, but you have additional support here over on the side just to let you know what your reading levels are, what your skills and your standard alignments are right here on the screen. And the same features that we saw earlier, you can change the reading levels, you can print out that reading level. We have some more audios and some background builder slideshows available, just some questions to get the students interested in what they're going to be reading and to build more background knowledge. Besides just showing that video, you can show these slides and read them together and discuss what they're going to be learning about. And the resource tab is divided up a little bit different than what we saw in Scholastic News. We do have our videos embedded on the top. The audio read alouds are found with the play buttons here, so you can upload these as well. So if your students have their magazines that they're using physically with the print, they can just click the play button and then listen to it read out loud to them. And here are some additional activities that go along with our stories. We have them available in different levels. So right now I'm just hovering over them and I can click on whether I want to print it, download it, or share it. And we do have the different levels for you to choose from. If you do download those, I'll show you an example. You'll see additional scaffolding within those skill sheets. And then let me show you the higher level. So you might see some additional tips. Maybe some of the questions are answered as an example for your students. So you'll see those as you compare the lower level and the higher level. And then we have our quizzes and then our answer key. We have a lot of additional features to explore. We have a scavenger hunt of the website. Some of our magazines do include choice boards. So if the magazine does have a choice board, you'll see that right here as an option. You could pull that up on your screen. It might be a writing activity, a drawing activity, maybe another link to a reading and writing activity. So you'll see additional activities added right on your screen. And then of course we have our lesson plan for every single one of our articles here. You'll see we do have a lot of SCL focus within the magazines, whether it be a link on the homepage of your magazine or embedded right in your lesson plan. You'll see a lot more writing. Teachers have been asking us for a lot more writing and reflection and close reading. So we do have those right within your lesson plans to add more writing to your lessons. And again, differentiating even further than what we have as far as audio, vocabulary support, and reading levels, we do have your lessons broken down for struggling readers, even for advanced readers, and additional needs for multilingual learners. And then some additional extensions. So our ELA series does include, we have the titles, and I'll bring them up for you real quick. We have StoryWorks for 4th and 5th grade, StoryWorks for 2nd grade, StoryWorks for 3rd grade, and then for middle school, we have Scope and New York Times up front. So when I click on Scope, this is for grades 6 through 8. And I want to just show you real quick some of the covers. And we talked a little bit about middle school in the last hour. You know, once we talked about read alouds, and once we passed from elementary to middle school to high school, we were kind of talking about we kind of lose that. So if you do have the magazines here, they are shorter articles than reading a novel, but they are still high interest topics that students will want to read about, they'll want to learn more about, and picture themselves within these stories. So as we're looking through these covers, again, show your students these archives, show them these covers, and they'll have the freedom of choice to just click on one of these stories and want to read about that character or about that person that they're reading about that they are interested in. And that'll spark that interest to even read more about that topic. All of our archives are searchable, so you can search for a topic that they're interested in. They can search even down at the bottom. Even for you, we have our topics down here on this link, curricular topics, and you can search by topic, skill, or even the format of the magazine. One of the other magazines I wanted to show you is our Choices. Our social emotional learning magazine has been just such a gem for some of our middle school and high school students, just based on the topics. So I did want to show you some of those covers for Choices. And let me zoom in a little bit. Hope you can see those. And when we all went virtual, here was a really, really good magazine that a lot of teachers gave excellent feedback. Just what do students do? How do I stay in contact with my friends? I'm now at home. I don't see them anymore. What do I do with my time? So there's a lot of those types of topics that students just want to keep reading more about and just support them along with what is going on in their world, especially for middle school and high school. It's hard to find those resources. So Choices is one of our most popular magazines for supporting students for those social emotional learning. And I want to show you some of those topics for the magazine itself. We cover personal health, mental health, life skills, and character building. And those topics are also along the top. And I'll show you a couple more. We also, of course, get into our math and science. What we love about both of those are the articles are wonderful. So not only are you teaching them the math skills for your curriculum, but you're also reading articles and they are learning those ELA skills within that text. So we could just pull up one of those articles. Actually, I'll just show you the presentation view of this one. And you see they're short articles, but they are still learning what they need to learn for their math curriculum. So they'll read a short article, and then there's a quick problem-solving math skill right embedded in there for you. And we do have videos, we have games, and we have many skill sheets and your lesson plans embedded within each of these websites. Very current. That's what I love about the websites. If there is something breaking news or something going on, you'll see that right across the top on your homepage that you could just bring up right then and there and have that discussion with your students. And they're always age appropriate. We have a wonderful editorial team that helps bring in those topics that students love to read, but definitely for that age group. And one of the other ones I wanted to bring up really quick is for English language arts is our Action magazine. This is our reading intervention magazine for middle school and high school students. So the topics are, of course, relatable to them, but they are reading at a 3rd through 5th grade level. So it's very identical to Storyworks and Scope as far as the layout, but you'll see just by looking at the covers that they are relatable to middle school and high school, the age group. And again, we go back to 2017 for these. So again, bringing in your science, your social studies, social media, just to have pulling those students in on those topics. We do have additional support for Action because it's reading intervention. You will see more leveling of those articles. Instead of 2 levels, there's actually 3 for many of them. So you'll have your lower, middle, and upper, and then you'll have more skill sheets. You'll have additional visuals that help support your students with learning those skills. And then we're going to get into high school ELA for grades 9 through 12, and that is New York Times Upfront. This covers your current events along with your ELA. And you can see the topics across the front here are, we cover the news, world news, government. Our debate articles for all of our magazines are huge for teachers to use because you can incorporate your reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills right with your debates. You could pull up any of these debates, and these are also in our ELA and Scholastic News and just all over our magazines, where you could pull up one of these questions and then have them discuss it. They can do a persuasive essay. They can just talk to each other about which side that they chose, and then just have those discussions right in your class. And then I'll pull up just some of those covers for you. Again, the middle and high school, it's sometimes it's hard to get them to read some of those novels, or just getting them to open the magazines to read. So we want to definitely use those. The editors do a great job just finding those topics and using a variety of different ways. So if they're interested in the cover story, then they can search the archives for another magazine that covers that same issue. And I'll show you a little bit more. We do have some special collections on each of our websites. So you'll see as the year goes on, the editors are collecting a lot of the archives into just high interest topics of collections. So maybe you're teaching about the environment for science, or we do have some on survival for some of our Storyworks and Scope magazines. So once you click on one of these special collections, it'll pull from the archives based on that topic. So you can pick one of these high interest topic collections, and your students can then choose an article to read, and the skill sheets and lessons for you are right in there for you. So there is a lot, and just wanted to show you all those archives and those titles and all the different varieties of subject areas, from math, science, ELA. We got it all from pre-K to 12. So if you ever need samples, or you would like to have sample links sent to you, let us know and we can send those to you to review. We can send them to your school, and we can always do quick little walkthroughs if needed. So we want to be a support to you where you feel that those needs are for your school, district, or classroom. And like Kelly mentioned earlier, teachers have purchased this, classrooms have purchased this, just as like a whole grade level, and also districts. So we can really customize the magazines to your needs for your school or district, or even just your class. So I will turn it back over to Kelly. I will put my information in chat for anyone who needs that additional support. Is there anything I can answer, Kelly, that you've seen in chat?
No, everybody's just been paying pretty much attention, and I'll send out a link for you guys to go to every single one of the magazines to look at it. That there'll be a specific link, and I'll either send it, everything that we've shared today, directly to Emily to send out to everyone. That might be the easiest thing to do. But we'll have all this information. You're welcome to reach out to me. You want to write my email down, it's krbrown@scholastic.com. Pretty easy. And we'll get you whatever you need to look at. Emily, thank you for having us.
Kelly, thank you so much for coming and sharing Scholastic magazines with us. There's a lot of offerings, and I know I grew up with Weekly Reader. That was something that we did every week in our schools in Camden. And now I'm in Sumter, and I know a lot of our schools use it as well.
Well, I think it's a great thing for kids to build home libraries as well. Continue to build those home libraries with the magazines. I know when my kids were little and they'd come home with it, they felt real cool because it wasn't a book, it was a magazine. And that just kind of empowered them, made them feel a little, more adult, for lack of a better term, that they were able to read a magazine or a news article.
Yeah, and they can read it together too as a family. With those family engagement pieces, the teachers could send that home as a printable, or they'll have access at home and they'll have that discussion together. And your students will feel very empowered. I brought this home and I'm sharing this with my family, and they'll keep it there. And they receive them every week, so they'll just keep building and building and building throughout the year.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelly. We'll have your email and Janine, your contact information, all of that we'll put out in our notes when we send this back to the group. And thank you all so much for being here today.
I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful school year ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to get started with the State Department. If you need to take a break at any time, feel free to go ahead and take a break. But we're going to keep going with our agenda. And so we've got the Office of Assessment up first, and I thought I saw them on the call earlier. So I'll try to, all my little screens have gone away. So hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. And it looks like we have Anita from the State Department.
Yes, good morning. Okay, can y'all see that? I can't see you, so.
You can't see it. Yeah, we can see it. It's perfect.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. I'm Marquita Blaylock from the Office of Assessment. I work on the development team. Rebecca's here with me as well. So I have a few updates. The first one, the test blueprints have been updated. So if you go to the quick links for teachers page, you can see them there.
Marquita, we can't see that slide. I think you have to. There you go.
Okay,
Now we
sorry.
can see it.
Okay. And here's the link to the quick links for teachers page. So it has our test blueprints, assessment boundaries, the sample release items are all there. And then we have a very quick survey. This is in conjunction with the Office of Standards and Learning. So if you all could take about 5 minutes to complete the survey, that would help us out with planning for the school year.
Hey guys, I put the survey link in the chat.
Thank you.
And it'll also go out when you get a copy of these slides. And we'll send the slides after the meeting. We'll compile everything today and then send it all out to you with the agenda notes and the slide deck. We'll also go ahead and share your contact information too. That'll go out to everyone. Does anybody have any questions real quick?
I don't have any questions, but I want to tell the Office of Assessment how incredibly jealous I am that they're getting Dr. Christina Melton. She is a rock star in every way. And the sad news for District 5, but the great news for this state, because she is an instructional leader. She started PLCs when PLCs wasn't cool. And she helped teachers go from thinking it was the kids' fault or the kids couldn't, and our population has shifted to understanding that these teachers had to shift their mindset about the children in the building and the kids could do, and it was our job to help them. So I'm just going to tell you, thank you, Katie. I'm with you, girl. I'm just going to tell you, rock star. Hey, here's a little tip. She doesn't believe in sleeveless. She thinks that you shouldn't show your arms, so you might, or big earrings, so you might want to just have that jacket on, or something, or have it handy around your don't tell her I told you, but actually it's a running joke, but put on your jacket with her, because she's just got a thing about it. So just telling you, that's her quirk, and when you're Christina, you can have your quirk. So I'm excited that she's going to you guys and not out of my life. So
Yeah. Thank you. We are super excited to have her, and she's ready. So we're ready for her.
And here's the good news. She's not one of those leaders that you wonder what she's thinking, because she's always very explicit and intentional and clear, and is about connecting dots. So you'll never worry about that, or you'll never think, is Christina like upset? No, you'll know where she is, where she stands. So it's wonderful. Yeah, Virginia. Yeah, Taylor. She's fabulous.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marquita. Thank you, Rebecca. And up next, we have the Office of Standards and Learning. I saw them on the call earlier.
Hey, y'all. I am clearly not Dr. Dawn Hawkins. Dawn and I are working in the same workspace today. And so I am jumping on her computer so that we do not have noise drama or speaker drama. So I am Ann Presley, and y'all know me. I'm the director of the Office of Standards and Learning. I spent a little bit of time, was lucky enough with you guys last year, and I was always very upfront that the experts were back at the ranch doing the work. And y'all had a little bit of chopped liver with me last year, and chopped liver just has one or two things to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to the big guns that we brought today. And we are absolutely delighted to be here. As I shared, I have Dr. Dawn Hawkins with me. I am delighted to introduce Mandy Hawker, who is our Elementary Education Associate in Office of Standards and Learning. Our Middle Level Education Associate is Tabitha Hughes. And we currently have the position for high school ELA posted. And I know if there were thought bubbles above all y'all's heads right now, you thinking, Ann, don't you dare try to steal any of our hot shots out of our district at this point in the year. So we're very respectful of that, but we're wanting to get that position filled. I want to say a hearty thank you to these ladies for the work that they have done and for the work that they continue to do on our standards, on our ELA standards revision process. And just as importantly, I want to say a thanks to you and your people. Dawn was sitting here looking at all the faces, and she's like, well, we had a lot of these people who supported and were a part of the work. And in addition, we asked you, and we continue to ask you, send us the best of the best, and y'all deliver every time, whether it's yourselves or whether you're sending us your teacher leaders to do this work. You're all student-centered content experts at every level, and we thank you. We cannot express enough gratitude for that. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hawkins, and I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend.
Hello, everyone. So we wanted to take a little time this morning to present and show you the timeline for the standards development. And you will see there is a lot has already happened. We have had our review and we have used the recommendations from the state review as well as the EOC review to lead into the writing and revising. And so that is wrapping up and we are getting ready to move into public review. So what we ask of you is if you will look out for, and we will share the public review link to a survey that we will share as well as have posted on our Office of Standards and Learning website so that we can get feedback from you, from teachers, from parents, community members, business, higher ed, from every stakeholder regarding the standards. That is vital step in this process and one that we take very seriously. That feedback will inform additional revisions that we will need and move into making. The plan is that we will be able to present the draft after all these revisions to State Board and to EOC by winter and spring of 2022. We don't see any reason that that cannot happen. So wanted to share this with you so that you will know of the phases that are coming up and be a part of that public review phase.
So hello everyone, good morning. I'm Tabitha Hughes, and so I'm going to kind of go over some asynchronous PLO opportunities that the State Department has. They're designed in Google Classroom and for you to be able to participate anywhere, anytime, and they are for you to have a thinking partner and to be able to work with us at the State Department and others in the group. The one caveat to participate, you do have to have a Google Classroom account to be in the PLOs. So if you need to do that, we have in the slide set that you will receive, you can click on the link and create one if you do not already have one. When you do PLOs with the State Department, you have personalized opportunities to engage with one-on-one with a thinking partner, and that thinking partner is going to come directly from the Office of Standards and Learning. If you turn on your notifications, you will always get notifications when their interaction has occurred throughout the entire PLO process. And each PLO follows a predictable structure. So you will be able to go in and recognize where you are in your learning process within a specific PLO topic. You will get to explore content, hopefully to engage your thinking and to engage with your thinking partner. You'll develop strategies. You'll be able to collaborate and then really be able to try on some of these strategies in your own classrooms or working with partners in your building and so forth. And then we always like that reflection piece. So I'm going to take you in and just show you how to reach some of these opportunities. So if you look, you of course go to the main website and go to instruction, then standards and learning, okay, and then English language arts, and then professional learning opportunities. And you'll be able to scroll down and see what's being offered throughout the year. And you will be able to see the people who are instructing, who your thinking partners will be, and just be able to hop on and engage in some really awesome opportunities that stretch your thinking and allow you to then take that thinking back and try it on in your classrooms and so forth. So we just wanted to kind of let you know, we are here to support you. And if you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out, because that's what we're here to do, is support you and your teachers and your students.
All right. I had to turn my microphone on so everybody could hear me. Next, I'm going to share about our Google form that the Office of Assessment set us up really well with. We just would like to hear from you this year through SCLL or through other opportunities. We'd like to know how we can best support you. So the Office of Assessment and our Office of Standards and Learning, as well as the Office of Early Literacy, came up with a Google form. I'm going to take you to that now just so we can look through it. It's an incredibly short form. If you'll just fill out your email and then what area you most focus on in your position. If you have multiple focuses in your position, maybe you're K through 12, maybe you're K through 5, just let us know as a leader in your district, what could our office provide to help you in your work with teachers. Let us know how we can assist, or that how we could provide opportunities that best suit the needs that you have as a district, and submit that to us. Emily will have the link to this from our slideshow today, and it's also been placed in the chat, but we just want to hear from you to know how we can best support you through this experience this year. Thank y'all for letting us share this morning.
Yes, thank you for this time.
Thank you guys for coming. Y'all, I had the pleasure and privilege to work with these ladies this summer, and let me tell you, they are rock stars. It was absolutely wonderful experience. So join the PLOs, provide your feedback. They are so open and receptive to making it happen and what you guys need. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily.
All right, next we have the Office of Early Learning and Literacy up. And I saw them on the call.
Morning, Emily. This
Morning.
is Quincy. How are you, and how is everyone?
Doing well.
Good, good, good. I have with me Marie Gibbons, our team lead on the Read to Succeed side, and Taylor Seal, who does so many things, but data and research are key in her wheelhouse. And we're going to present today some updates. Also kind of showcase some things that you probably are going to be the first to hear. So we're going to get started. But I want to say before we start, I was so moved by Lester's words. But I'll tell you another group that he might not realize that this works for, but when you're trying to figure out, maybe where children are coming from, it also works with elderly parents. I have taken care of my father and mother for a long time, and my dad, I used to go in and he would say something that I thought was just off the wall. And, we would kind of chalk it up as dementia. And then lo and behold, a commercial would come on like an hour later, and I would say, that's where he got that crazy comment from. So it can work on older parents too, just so you know. But very moved by what he had to say. Thought that was an awesome way to start the school year with him as a speaker. So thanks to Kelly and that group. And then I also want to just say, my heart is so heavy for each of you in this space, and working through all of the things that you are having to work through. I can't imagine. I know it was for the best, but having to pivot earlier in the week with changing DHEC guidance, I just know we're doing everything we can to try and support you, and I hope you hear that from assessment to standards and learning, and now certainly to my office. So with that, we'll get started. I think Taylor's up to bat first.
Yeah, hey y'all. Hopefully you can see this. I'm not used to doing Google Meets, so I always have to try and remember what I'm doing. Quincy, do you see a summer reading camp slide, or is it still showing just the front slide?
Still showing the main one.
Okay, I'm going to unshare and just try this one more time. All right, how about now? Is that looking any better?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, hey y'all, I just have a quick update for summer reading camp. This year we're using Power School, so we we don't have the normal kind of end of camp survey we've done the past few years. So we've asked for that data to be in by September 3rd. I've had a few folks reach out to me just because it's a crazy year. Some people have camps going later than normal who need a little time after that. So that's fine if you're in that camp as well. Talk to me or Marie if you haven't already. And if you have any questions about the Power School processes, I've put the Power School email in there. They have a kind of ticketing system to help quickly. So they're probably your best bet for some of the specific Power School pieces. And I forgot to put this in here, but we also are looking for your usual expenditure reports. I don't need those quite as quickly. If you could get those in October, that would be great. And if you want a copy of any expenditure reports from previous years, you can just email me or Marie. We've got a few years on hand that we can share with you. And then I will let Marie take it from here.
Okay, hello everybody. I too really enjoyed Lester Laminack, so thank you all for bringing him on, and for I'm assuming Scholastic was this the one who sponsored him, so that was really, really good. So thank you so much. To add a little bit to what Taylor said about summer reading camp, our 22 literacy specialists in our office went around the state this summer and observed at least one in every school district should have gotten a visit for summer reading camp. And they had some fabulous things to say about stuff that they saw. They were very excited. And so we might be tapping on some of your shoulders to when it comes time to do the Leaders Making Readers. We might want some people to present, because there were some great things that they saw. You all should have gotten a memo a few weeks ago about the Office of Early Learning and Literacy PLOs that are upcoming. Now, some of these are offered by the early learning side, and the others are offered by our literacy side. And the registrations are still available, so you'll have the link here in this slide if you all would like to share that with some other folks. The book clubs that we did last year were very, very popular, and so we're repeating those this year. The registration ends for those next week, and because they start, a couple of them start one starts September 9th and another starts September 13th. So we also are adding a couple this year that we heard from so many people that reading coaches out in the schools, if they're not part of the Palmetto Literacy Project, they're hungry and they want some attention. So we've started something called Coaching Conversations, and it will meet quarterly. So if you have any reading coaches that are like beyond year 1 and year 2 that you think might be interested in coaching conversations, please encourage them to sign up. Now that will start, the first one will be September the 15th, and it will be in regions, Midlands, upstate, and the Low Country. So they would be in with coaches from their areas. And also this year, for the first time, we're offering something for principals called Principals Literacy Institute, and that will start at the end of September. See, Robin, you've got your hand up. Is that, you have a question?
Yes. Will those PLOs be virtual?
Yes, those will be virtual. Now, some of the ones on the early learning side are not virtual. They'll be on site. So it just depends on the on which one it is.
Yeah, this one was specifically one that I was thinking about for coaches. Thank you.
Taylor, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. And again, we're offering the Reading Coach Institute for brand new coaches, for those that are in their first year and also their second year. And if you have a coach in those categories and they have not registered, please encourage them to do so, because those will be starting up also in September. Currently, we have 72 year 1 coaches registered, and as of yesterday afternoon, we only had 60 in year 2. And I know that we had more than 60 last year in the year 1. So we feel like some people may not have registered. So encourage your coaches, if they're in year 1 or year 2, to sign up for those. Okay, Taylor, you can move on. Okay, the reading coach MOAs, they're not actually due until September the 15th, but many of you have sent them in. We have right now. There were 3 things we were asking for: the MOA, as well as the reading coach qualification survey information, and then a finance sheet to go to the Office of Finance. So there were 3 things there, and as of yesterday afternoon, 29 districts had turned in everything. But many of them, we've not heard from you yet, and I don't know. Just want to make sure that people haven't forgotten about that. So if you're that person in your district and you haven't done it, you do have till September 15th, but you know, just put that on your to-do list. And if anybody has any questions about that, just contact me and let me know. I see a question about the PowerPoint. Yes, you all will be getting the PowerPoint. Okay, our Palmetto Literacy Project supports schools. We will be supporting the same schools that we did last year. You know, due to the pandemic, we didn't want to make any switches there because, you know, test scores, they're based on test scores. So, you know, we might have been serving many more if we were using a COVID year. So we're not. So we, and the reading coaches in those schools had to be approved by our office. So, and those forms had to be in by May 15th. And I'm happy to say I've gotten in all of the 200 and I don't know how many, 30 something. I've gotten in all but 5. So, so that's good. But if you all have, if you turned one in May, but you had a coach to retire or move or whatever, transfer, and are putting a new coach in one of those tier 2 or tier 3 schools, then please remember that we do need to have that paperwork on them. So just let me know if you've got somebody new, and I'll certainly work with you to give you time to get that done. Okay. The district and school reading plans are due October the 15th. They were minor changes in the reflection tool there, mostly some wording and just some rearranging of the sections. And there is a form stack for all the schools and the districts to complete, and the links are in there. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. And there was somebody had a question. Robin, you have a question?
I do, but somebody else had a question first in the chat, so I'll yield to that.
Okay, Christy is asking, good cause exemption, is there a form from our area, or does the district just create one, and who receives this once completed and signed by the superintendent? That information, Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that part of what is in Power School? Because we don't collect those.
It's in Power School.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was going to say, we've got like a sample form that we recommend that districts have on hand for just documentation. And then there's a little box on that new Read to Succeed Power School page where you actually plug in that kid's good cause exemption. But that's all we need from the reporting side as of now. The form is what y'all hold on hand district level.
Yes. Okay.
So I had a question about the reading plans. I took the elementary and secondary and the district plan and put them side by side, all 3 side by side, and went through them to see what the differences were. And there are some differences. I agree they're not drastically different, but there are some differences and some things that are, not in secondary that are in elementary and vice versa. So when we're doing the district plan, and this is, us being A-type personalities, when we're doing the district plan, and we're trying to account for both elementary and secondary, should we think of it from a district standpoint, how we're doing overall, or some way try to meld the two? I want to do this right. And so I'm just wondering what other people that have looked at the plans are thinking about, because we just want to be sure that we're, making this not just a plan that we fill out and submit, right, but something that is really meaningful. So any advice, or anybody else who's been thinking about that, I'd appreciate it.
Well, I would say that you would want to meld the two together, and whatever the district needs. You know your district and your needs better than anybody else, better than we do. So it's what you need, because you hit the nail on the head when you said you want it to be meaningful and not just something on paper to check a box. So, you know, you do what works for you. Quincy, you want to add to that?
I'll just echo your sentiments and just say, you know, Robin, the whole thought process here is a phrase that you said. It's not to just be something put on the shelf. We read these, and we read these very carefully. There's not a reading plan police, but we do read them to try, and it helps us kind of decide what we need to do in terms of support. But I would also take a look at the academic recovery plan and just see how all these things are fitting together, because, you know, it would be nice if we had one plan, but we don't yet. We've got a strategic plan. And I, you know, I hate that, but the facts are hopefully they're parallel, that they are not, you know, running something very crazy outside of one versus the other. But it's all about the thoughtful, intentional planning that you have for your district. So we're going to read them. And if there's something we've got a question about, we'll come back to you. Not in an oversight crazy way, but in a support, because there again, we use this information to help determine what we need to do outside of the fact that's part of the law. We use it for those reasons, not for any evaluative or anything like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Quincy, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. I should have called us the Three Musketeers today, right? But I know you're looking and saying, does that really say numeracy? She's talking to the literacy leaders. But yes, it does, because I just wanted you to know, because y'all are all in the Act 213 space. And as we move into this third year of implementation of MTSS, I'm so happy to tell you that I've been working with a statewide committee. I reached out to the South Carolina leaders in mathematics education, and you know, several folks in districts serve and wear multiple hats. So I don't know if I'm getting everybody, but a shout out to Brenda Kelly, shout out to Bernard Frost. They served on this committee. We had higher ed. We also had a lot of district level folks across the state, a very diverse group. Geographically, size-wise, so I'm so happy. But they've been working the last 6 months, developing a criteria for numeracy screeners, vetting, you know, materials from vendors, just doing a lot of work. And so I'm so happy to tell you that we had the Learning Disorders Task Force meeting on Tuesday of this week and got their endorsement. And so we will be publicizing a list next Tuesday, and it is there for you to take a look at. So we've got a list that meets our criteria, but clearly what I want to say to this group is, when you see that, really delve into the screeners to see if it meets the needs of your district. You know, how did they, what research is based on maybe who they use their screeners on? Does it fit the clientele that you serve? But it's coming on Tuesday, so look for that. I get asked often, you know, so people start to panic. Oh my gosh, don't panic. I want to tell you, as I told you last year, wherever you are in the MTSS process is where you need to reach and then pull yourself to the next step. If you're not ready for this, you're not ready for this. You know, come when you're ready. The last thing I want to do is put more burden on you. What I'm trying to do is provide the tools that you need to make the very good decisions you need for your children. So now you have literacy screeners, you have social emotional screeners, and on Tuesday you will have numeracy screeners to fulfill Act 213. The next, I want to talk to you a little bit about our letters training. Following some of the work we did in our Tier 3 schools with the curriculum audit reviews that we did in April and May. We have been piloting letters training in Darlington. And I know Casey is a part of this group, so she can talk to you about it. Her team has worked on the first 2 units of volume 1 for letters training. All along the while, we've been training our own office on both sides of the office, all the literacy specialists and the early learning teams going through letters, as well as Wendy and Marie. And they are currently, they finished volume 1, which is the first 4 units, and are well into unit 5 of volume 2. As a result of this, coming on Monday, oh, Shayla, thank you, yay. I do believe, you know, folks have asked me what camp am I in, and I think I've told y'all before, I'm in the children's camp, because this training, coupled with some of the way we've set it up structurally, to me is going to be a very big game changer for our state, because it is providing the teachers with the tools that they will need to diagnose their classroom. End of story. That is what it is all about. It is intense. It's not easy, but we took the findings from the Tier 3 schools and put our training cycles into 3 different cycles for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 schools. So it is in the intent of the South Carolina Department of Education to have training in the Tier 3 and Tier 2 and Tier 3 schools, which all is about 5,500 participants across our state. And that is beginning in right now. So I'm so happy that Alicia and our schools in Chester are on board. Folks in Union are here. Stacy White in Lancaster. We're in Lancaster starting. We're in Newberry. We're in Marion. I think Chalet is on the call. And we're also in Aiken, and having some great conversation with Charleston, because I'm probably going to spread them throughout the cycles. But a memo will be coming out on Tuesday, personal to the district superintendent and the principal of these Tier 2 and Tier 3 schools, to give you a lot more information about how this is going to work. We have training for the administrators. The request will be in October for them to attend a 2-day training along with their literacy, their reading coach. So just a lot is planned. And this is what the department is using their ESSER money for. And this, coupled with the fact that we are going to be offering, we have a committee that will be vetting curriculum in the science of reading, and be offering that as a possible option to our Tier 3 schools beginning as early as January. So we're a little ahead of the ELA adoption, but we feel that it is necessary, particularly after we did the reviews back in May. So I saw a question in the chat pop up. Let me see here. What was that? In the district level curriculum, also get the training. Absolutely. So, oh, Christy, thank you. Oh, makes my heart sing. So here's the folks that we're working. Here's what the memo will say: K-3 teachers and the kindergarten assistants, special ed folks that you deem appropriate and their assistants, the reading coach, the administrators, and then certainly any district level person that would like to go alongside and support, because to me, that's the model that's working in Darlington. If you don't have all those pieces, it's not going to work. So we are willing to offer. And then there's some outliers, like if you've got an interventionist that's been dedicated to that building for the last couple of years and you feel like they're going to be there, I'm good with that too. But I have given some parameters. There will be a stipend each year. I'm also happy to tell you that we have worked through with letters to count for the 4 courses for Read to Succeed endorsement. So that's a plus. So those folks will have that. If they have the courses already, then they will get recertification point each year. So we've tried to set it up as a worthy training alongside with what I think is going to be a game changer for the children. So just giving you a snapshot. The memo's coming out on Tuesday, and it will be personalized by district. So y'all take a look and help me with We know some schools have consolidated in this COVID space. So if there's a school that we're calling for that no longer exists, just let us know that as well. So the resources, we put some resources that are in the roadmap document that went alongside the academic recovery plan. And y'all, I really think that's just a good resource for you to be thinking in some 5 big spaces as you are writing your reading plan, as you were working through the academic recovery plans. So we put some resources in here for you as well. So I'll take any questions if you have any. Well, okay then. Look at there. All right. Well, I want you to have, I hope you've have had a wonderful start. And I wish you continued success and as we move through this craziness. But thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moore, and thank you for your team. Guys, if y'all have any questions, we can get them answered for you. We'll be sharing their PowerPoint and all the notes when we send out our email from the group. All right, thank you for coming and sharing. Next, we're going to go into our professional organizations update. And we have Kathy Jones-Stork, who's going to provide that update for us.
Am I the only one that can't hear Kathy?
I can't hear her either. I saw her on the call, so I know she's here. And I see her mic is off. Try again, Kathy. All right, I gave you host controls. Did that help out at all? We can do that. We will come back and see if we can get the sound resolved. Sometimes if you go out and come back in, that might do it. Okay. And then, okay, so next up, Mary Beth, can you present the PowerPoint again or the Google Slides? We're going to go into professional learning. All right, so we wanted to just talk about the 2 books that we're going to study this year. And you've got choices. Shifting the Balance, that one is targeted to K-6. And so that is talking about how to bring the science of reading into the balanced literacy classroom. I heard about this book this summer. It's very, very new and it looks amazing. I've already ordered it to do a book study with my reading coaches here in Sumter. So I'm very excited about that one. Another one I heard about this summer, of course, you know, I am a follower of Doug Fisher. Ever since I was in the classroom, I don't know what it is about his stuff. I just follow him. And I've seen him in person a couple of times, luckily, and got to have lunch with him once. So that's like one of my, whoo, I touched fame moments. But he has a new book out with Nancy Frey, Dominic Smith, and of course, John Hattie, called Leading the Rebound. And so that's our other option. And that's for any and all grades. So if you would make the decision of which one you'd like to study this month or this year, not just this month, and go ahead and get that book purchased. Now, what I had set up, and we're not going to have enough time to do this, but I was going to have you go into breakout rooms and have you think about what you want to do with this book study. So I'm going to have this as homework for you guys. I want you to have a link to some slides, and I used the registration to come up with who was in each group, so we would know who was doing shifting the balance and who was interested in leading the rebound. And so I want you to go to those slides between now and next month, introduce yourself with your name, your title, your district, and what you hope to learn from that text. Now, if you haven't picked a book yet, please just, you can put it in when we drop the sign in for today. Yep, we'll send the slides and everything. But I want you to sign in. When you sign in today, put that in the notes. Like, what do you have notes for the board? If you didn't register this past month, so we don't know your choice, or if you've changed your choice, put it in your notes in that sign in at the end of today, and we'll have you split up into groups for that book study. And now you're going to be with that small group throughout the entire year so that y'all can build community in that small group. So you'll have to introduce yourselves on the slides to start, but we'll hopefully be able to do breakout rooms next month in September, and hopefully we'll be back face to face so we can put y'all at tables together for the rest of the meetings going forward. Okay, I think, Kathy, I think I heard your mic come back on, so we're ready for you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yay.
Hold on. Thanks.
We can't hear you now.
Kathy, you went silent again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. I got my tech friend here. I'm sorry, y'all. So the most exciting part for last. I'm just teasing. But I wanted to provide a quick update about our 2 state professional organizations. Mary Beth, if we could pull that PowerPoint up. You've heard mention of the Palmetto State Literacy Association earlier today when Kelly indicated, and Emily, that Lester would be at the Palmetto State Literacy Association conference in February 24th to 26th in Hilton Head, and we are crossing our fingers and hoping that the conference will be face-to-face. We are working very hard to have an intensive author strand with some authors, including Derek Barnes, perhaps Peter Reynolds, and some other kind of high-powered authors in our midst. We're working very hard to have a more secondary focused strand that would highlight Barrett Gordon as one of our featured speakers. We are working to have some high quality pre-conference sessions, including Dr. Danielle Dickey with us on that kickoff day on Thursday. And then, of course, our 2 keynote speakers will be Lester Laminack and Dr. Adolph Brown. Some of you may have seen or heard from Dr. Adolph Brown from SCASA membership, a conference a couple of years ago, and I believe he's been to some of your districts in the state as well. So we're excited about the lineup there. Much more to come regarding specific concurrent and breakout sessions. The call for proposals, I think we can go to the next slide, actually was posted on the Palmetto State Literacy website. This is the address here. If you'll just go to palmettostateliteracy.org, it should take you to that web page, and then go to either news or annual conference, and you'll see the description and link to submitting the call for proposals aligned to the theme Literacy and Justice for All. Those are due September 30th. In order to be accepted as a presenter for either a pre-conference or a concurrent session, you must be a member of Palmetto State Literacy Association. And here is the link to join PSLA. when you join PSLA, you also are automatically joined to your local reading council. We're meeting tomorrow as a Palmetto State Literacy Association kickoff, so you are likely to be receiving more specific information regarding your local council programming for the year after tomorrow's meeting. But the membership is only $15, which provides you membership in both the state and your local council, which allows you to register and attend the conference at a much reduced fee than a non-member fee. So it's well worth the $15 to join Palmetto State Literacy. So I put in a shameless plug for that. The next slide is speaking to our other state literacy organization, SCCTE, South Carolina Council of Teachers of English. And this is connected to our NCTE, the National Council of Teachers of English. The conference for SCCTE is scheduled for January the 28th through the 29th in Myrtle Beach. And you'll see there the two featured speakers. And then calls for articles through their journal, as well as links to submitting proposals for their conference. Admittedly, I don't know as much about SCCTE as PSLA, so if there's anybody in the group that can add to the SCCTE conference information, please feel free to jump in. Moving forward, we'll try to do a better job of providing some information around our offerings through International Literacy Association, ILA, and NCTE, National Council of Teachers of English. So if you have specific needs, requests, or suggestions regarding updates on professional organizations, don't hesitate to give a shout out, and we'll do what we can to get you the information you need. Are there any questions that I could answer in regards to either of our state conferences coming up? Okay, thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Kathy. It looks like the link is working because I see people signing in. So it looks like it's working. So I'm not sure what that access issue is. As long as we have your email, which we should if you're here today, then we can also include this link for sign in, or it is actually included in the slides, and we'll be sending that out to you guys. Okay. All right, well, that brings us to the end today with 4 minutes to spare. So it sounds like we've done well with our time. Does anybody have any questions for the good of the group? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining today. Again, the link for the sign-in, if you can't access it through the chat, it will be in those Google Slides that will come to you by email. And then also the spreadsheet for membership that you can help us clean up will come to you as well. And it is linked on the first page of the slides that you're going to receive by email. Thank y'all for your attendance today.